February 2nd, Saturday. I can't sleep. The second hand of the clock has spun around countless times as I've been staring at it. Actually, I've been watching the minute hand spin around a few times too, but I still can't fall asleep. Kazusa had already fallen asleep long ago. She was still rather tense, but today she chased me out of the bathroom and ate her food with her own hands. Even after she slipped into bed, she glared at me for a while and spoke to me at length about her additional concert and her plans for when she leaves Japan. Tired from both speaking and her time outside, she defenselessly fell asleep right in front of me with soft breaths. That's why I was finally able to relax today and thought to myself that I'd be able to fall asleep easily. But my memories are getting in the way. Memories of the bombshell dropped on me this late in the game. The words that Youko-san spoke. Excuse me?
Like I said, leukemia. Usually, it's the unhappy heroine who falls ill with this disease. But it seems God has made a mistake yet again.
After forcefully tracking down Youko-san, who had concealed her own whereabouts, I came here to meet her in person to, of course, talk about Kazusa. I wanted to tell her in earnest that I can no longer support Kazusa and ask for her help. And I wanted her to take up the responsibility she had forced upon us up until now.
It was about half a year ago, I think. My body felt unsteady from just playing a 2-hour concert.
I wanted her to take responsibility. That way, Kazusa would have been saved. Yet,
around my third and fourth piece, my heartbeat went up and I couldn't breathe properly. Even when I was done with the concert, it continued for about an hour.
Youko-san called me to a location I could never have imagined. Hojo University Hospital.
At first, I thought it was diabetes finally catching up with me.
Anyone would have thought that. You two should have had more self-restraint.
You never change, Kitara-kun. You act all high and mighty, even to me.
I'm sorry. I haven't been able to take in the situation yet.
Well, I suppose so. It took me a decent while to accept it myself.
A 15-minute walk from where I live. Within the Hojo campus, which I commuted to and from for around 7 years, there is a hospital. In a private room of that hospital is where she lies.
They told me I had anemia when I did some light examinations overseas. After that, I started eating much more. I even changed the wine I drink from white to red.
So you only changed the color.
But my symptoms still didn't get any better. Just a year ago, I could play the piano all night without any problems too.
Being able to do that in the first place is what is strange. Enough for Kazusa to view her as a hard wall to climb.
So, I started thinking that this might actually be pretty bad. So, I decided to have Dr. Takanayagi, whom I trust, examine me here in Japan.
I know a Takayanagi Norimasa. He was the chief of the medical faculty in my university.
They say he's very authoritative on diseases like this. And, not least of all, we had an eventful relationship way back.
And now, in the strangest way possible, he's yet another candidate for being Kazusa's father.
I've been hospitalized for inspection countless times since I returned to Japan, so now we have a decent grasp about what the disease is.
Hospitalized? In other words, the reason she disappeared without a trace so many times wasn't so she could catch up with old friends or spend the whole night drinking.
When we were considering our options, a pretty bad symptom hit me. That was during the night of Kazusa's concert.
Since that day?
I don't have any memories of the 2 days after that, though.
When Kazusa was overcome with sorrow because she had no one to support her, there was a person who was in even greater need of her daughter's support.
Well, I'm fine now. I'll be able to leave the hospital next week.
Does Kazusa know about...
Do you think I could tell her? With the way she is now?
I was planning on blaming this person. I was ready to look down on her and give her a lecture or two. Despite that, I've figured out just how little I know. Could it be that Kazusa's concerts in Japan were...
I planned on bringing her here with me someday regardless. But this is the reason I was in such a rush.
The reason these concerts in Japan were organized wasn't simply to cash in on her popularity. It wasn't simply the judgment of a producer.
I wanted to ascertain whether Toma Kazusa would be accepted in Japan, and whether my idiotic daughter would be able to live in Japan once more.
She doesn't know if she can be there to experience her daughter's future. And so, this was the shock therapy that a mother had devised after carefully thinking about how she would ever convey this news to her daughter.
For as long as I'm still alive, that is.
Although everything she's done up until now in that regard has failed her horrifically. I can't bring myself to blame this doting parent after finding out about her circumstances.
Just so you know, I'm not planning on dying right away.
Yeah.
The fatality rate for this disease has gone down drastically in recent years, and I've been using plenty of both medication and money. I'll make it to 100 at the very least.
Please do. With her words, I managed to perceive her strength. A strength that makes me think, since it's Toma Youko we're talking about, everything's going to be fine.
It's just that I won't return to Vienna anymore. I don't plan on leaving Japan anymore.
Youko-san! But despite that, I can no longer see the once triumphant and carefree pioneer who once abandoned Japan.
It's the country I was born in. Despite everything, it's the country I love more than any other in the world.
I can't blame her judgment. As a compatriot, I can sympathize with her. And the more I find out about her circumstances, the less I can bring myself to oppose her. But even then, what about Kazusa?
What should I do, Guitar-kun?
I couldn't. She spoke with a hint of humor, but I'm sure there wasn't any falsehood in her lamentful words. Right now, Kazusa's only life goal is to overcome you, Yoko-san. But the only person she can rely on is also you. And Kazusa will probably be able to detach herself from any lingering regrets in Japan.
I see. You rejected Kazusa, didn't you? Tell me, what is it about her that you don't like? Well, I do understand that she has no merit outside of her piano. She's gloomy, selfish, stubborn, and her ability to give up is bad enough to make anyone take a step back.
That's not the problem. I have no complaints about her.
You're the only person in the world who can say that confidently. So, you were the only person in the world I had hopes for.
We both relied on each other too much.
So, my daughter lost once again to the same person she lost to 5 years ago, no less.
Please, stop. I thought that this person alone could. I thought she alone could do something about that moody genius's ability to become a part of society. Never once considering that.
It was a gamble on my part, too. I am a parent after all. I want to be with Kazusa until she can become independent.
But I can't blame her for that at all.
But I can't make that come to fruition in Vienna anymore. This might sound a bit selfish, but this is about my life.
Because we're both relying on each other for the sake of our own lives.
That's why I forced Kazusa with me to Japan, so we could stay here permanently.
If I could accept those words in full earnesty, I would find them joyous from the bottom of my heart.
As far as her career as a pianist is concerned, with how Japan is right now and the way Kazusa is, she should be able to do well, even if she leaves Europe.
Kazusa, you separated from me in such a sorrowful way 5 years ago. Kazusa, who I thought I'd never see again, will be within a reachable distance every day from now on.
Old Man Flugel will retire this year anyway, and I've already found another teacher in Japan. It's an older French woman who raised Hashimoto Kenji to become the #1 young pianist. Though we used to fight a lot over boys back in the day.
During our commemorations, or even when I feel like it, I can call Kazusa to join our gatherings.
That's why my main worry is whether Kazusa can live here again.
We can restore the three, consisting of Kazusa, me, and Setsuna.
But it seems it didn't work out in the end. I couldn't make Kazusa overcome her feelings, nor could I fulfill her wishes.
We can go back to being three again. But that won't be the same three who swore eternal friendship 5 years ago in the Hot Springs Inn. It will be a three where no one can consider the others as friends.
You were my last hope to bring Kazusa back to Japan. And you were also the greatest impediment.
Even if you say that to me so suddenly.
You hurt her feelings, didn't you? And you couldn't accept them. Well, then that's the inevitable result.
Do you think I can accept them? She broke all contact with me for 5 years. How am I supposed to believe that?
I've been with her all this time, so Shall I confirm it for you? Do you have any idea how much that person has been obsessed about a single man she can't even meet?
No, but that's...
She was talking to you 10 hours every day, you know? That's why her feelings for you couldn't possibly have faded away.
10 hours? That's the time Kazusa spent with her piano. The time when she wasn't rebelling against her mother. And the time when she wasn't hurling abuse at me.
Like that, she felt a love that would never freeze over. Because of that, her piano style grew more and more suggestive. And at some point, the whole world accepted her for it.
But that's...
You heard Kazusa's confession, didn't you? You can't say you can't believe it now.
It's because her sensibilities are so infantile. It's because her outlook is so narrow. It's because she had no interest in anything else that Kazusa's piano outshone others so much. It really is a mockery of art.
But still, her choice of a partner was terrible. He was far outside Kazusa's league.
I'm out of her league? How?
Because you're an ordinary person, Gitaru-kun. Being with someone so troublesome is impossible for you. Just as I suspected.
I don't understand what you mean.
After all, the two of us have had the power to ruin the lives of ordinary people. And it's not a power that we have control of. That's why, if that girl ever tries to make you hers, she'll end up destroying the whole world around you.
Her lifestyle of playing concerts that makes it impossible to remain in just Japan, the enormous cost of maintaining her ability and lifestyle, the media commotion these past few days that not even she herself desires, her lifestyle, her life goals, and even her standards for happiness are completely different from me. She lives in a world I'll never be a part of and never be accustomed to.
To other people, that would be a very brutal, heartless, and terrible thing.
Even if I jumped into it with full awareness of the risks, what about the people who were around me when I lived an ordinary life? What about Setsuna's happiness? There's no point in thinking about it after all. Kazusa didn't fall in love with the true me. It's no more than an idealized image of me that Kazusa invented. After all, Setsuna was made to walk around in circles because of the real me these past 5 years. She suffered due to the difference in ideal and reality. And only through repeated dialogue did we manage to get to this point. That's why Setsuna's feelings, our relationship established through long talks, is the actual truth. Youko-san, no matter how much Youko-san tries to defend Kazusa, and no matter how pure and genuine Kazusa's feelings are, no, that's precisely why the answer is clear before my eyes. Choosing Setsuna is the correct answer. One that is totally free from mistakes. That's why I have to tell her. I must tell her that Setsuna is the only one I love. I must tell her, without muddling my words, that I must say farewell to Kazusa.
That's why, Guitar-kun, now that things are the way they are, you should reject that girl without hesitation. Cut her off completely, so that her wounds may heal faster, even if only a little.
I knew that much, but even so, I failed again.
Don't ever think of healing her wounds by yourself. If you show her even the slightest opportunity, she will never give up.
In the end, I could never say out loud what I had determined in my heart. That can't!
Do you think that no such thing would happen? I suppose that's the sensibilities of an ordinary person.
Because of that, my position returns to its original state, and I find myself once again defending Kazusa.
Kazusa is, in her essence, just as sex-crazed as I am. She doesn't share the logic of the general public.
Youko-san! I find myself put in a difficult situation yet again by Youko-san.
Otherwise, she wouldn't have kept loving a single man she hasn't met for 5 years. Can such a woman exist according to your common sense? So, make sure you don't forget that. If she's unlucky, no, it's almost certain that she'll never fall in love again her whole life at this rate.
How could that be? I was just her classmate for a single year. I haven't done anything that would warrant such powerful feelings from her.
The one who gets to decide that isn't you, but Kazusa, right?
Why do mother and daughter always have to say the same things? It makes it sound like what Youko-san is telling me is all what Kazusa truly feels.
I'll say it once more, Kitahara Haruki-kun.
But, Youko-san...
If you cannot accept that girl, then abandon her immediately. That is for her own sake.
If I do that, then what will happen to Kazusa? If she becomes unable to rely on not only me, but Youko-san too? If her goal, her only guidepost, disappears like a mirage? Who will be able to protect her? February 4th, Monday.
Alright then. Thank you very much, Nori-kun.
The only ones who still call me that are cabaret hostesses and you.
Doesn't that mean there's still quite a few?
Forget that. It's the future that matters, Yoko-chan. Your true struggle lies ahead, and so does my true time to shine.
I'm counting on you, okay? This is the reason I came back to this remote country in the first place.
I understand that from a business perspective, but you shouldn't describe the home country of someone you have a special bond with as remote.
If I used that line of thought for every country, all of them would have a special place in my heart.
You never change, do you? With that spirit, I can guarantee you another 10 years.
10 years is not enough. I need another 80. I've made up my mind to live past at least 100 years old.
Even this late in the game, you're still inflating the numbers, I see.
Toma-san, I saw your ride coming. Now then, since that's how it is, let's make our next meeting next month.
At least take an examination once a week. I'll be around during the afternoon on Wednesday.
Hello, congratulations on your discharge.
Dear me.
Yoko-san greets me with a somewhat blank expression after seeing me poke my head out from behind the nurse. This might be the first time I've seen that expression of hers.
Good grief. So, this time it's a boyfriend the same age as your daughter? You never change.
Huh?
The only thing that never changes is that rotten, perverted brain of yours. Well,
We're headed for the studio. Kazusa resumed her practice yesterday.
that's not what I was asking. Why are you doing Mio-chan's job, Kitara-kun?
At first, Yoko-san was just gawking at me. But once we got in the taxi, she started to leer suspiciously at me. I suppose that's only natural. Kudo-san has had her hands tied all day today. She's primarily arranging matters for the additional concert.
But that doesn't mean...
I have permission from the company. I told them I'll be running errands for Tomoyoko for a while. I told them that this is a condition for making the additional issue. Of course, I haven't said anything about your hospitalization, so don't worry. The chief editor and even my superior were completely convinced, saying that's just what Tomoyoko would do.
Those guys!
In times like these, her usual jokester-type personality really is useful. After all, I can convince anyone of anything by just saying Tomoyoko said so.
So, what's this about?
I thought we should have a meeting about our plans moving forward.
Moving forward, huh?
She's not just an ordinary troublemaker, but rather a quick-witted, ill-natured troublemaker who knows full well what she's doing. For the first time, that has saved me. First and foremost is your illness. Let's keep that fact hidden from others for the time being.
What about Mio-chan?
I've already spoken to Kudo-san. She was convinced.
You did all that when the person in question wasn't even around?
I told her that we should give our undivided attention to Kazusa's additional concert, and she agreed.
Well, that was my intention from the start, so I have no objections.
However, I'd like to minimize contact between you and Kazusa for the time being, Yoko-san.
I suppose it'd be a problem if I collapsed right in front of her.
The standard should be 1 hour a day. It'd be best if you just watched her practice in the studio. Please avoid eating with her.
I have more than 10 types of after-meal medication, after all.
No matter how roundabout or blunt I am in my phrasing, she understands the gist of everything I tell her. Also, you will have examinations in the hospital 3 days a week, on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays in the morning. I'll pick you up at the hotel to avoid staying anywhere besides the hotel.
And
This is until her additional concert is over. Bear with it until then.
I'll be fine, even if I collapse a few times. Nori-kun will be able to help me, even if my heart stops beating.
Any actions that will reduce your lifespan are strictly forbidden. For Kazusa's sake, too.
What if my condition gets worse because all the fun gets sucked from my life?
I won't allow that to happen. If you're planning on living for Kazusa's sake, restrain yourself that much. At the very least, put yourself under my management until the additional concert is over. Is that okay?
So, what about after that?
That will be decided in a different conference. My speech, which was eloquent until now, becomes muddled at this point.
You plan on attending the conference?
If you can't come up with the conclusion by yourself. As I suspected, Yoko-san's perceptiveness lets her understand everything. She understands that this schedule doesn't even allude to what will happen after the additional concert is over. she understands that once 3 weeks have passed and Kazusa no longer has a reason to stay in Japan, there will still be no clear solution. Will she make Kazusa return to Vienna? In that case, will Yoko-san stay in Japan? Will Yoko-san tell Kazusa about her illness someday? Will she really tell her?
Tell me, Gitaru-kun, don't you think it's unnecessary for you to get involved in this any further?
That may be, but I just can't leave it be.
What should I do, Gitaru-kun?
Because even Yoko-san's at a loss.
Is it because she was your first woman?
Please don't say such unimaginative things. That's why I can't let Kazusa leave Japan with worrying prospects like that. My feelings for her are that of eternal admiration.
Admiration, you say?
That's why I want her to remain cool, no matter how much time passes. I want her to become happy.
That's why you've decided to make her happy by your own hand? Even when you have rejected the one method she desires more than anything else? I spoke out of line. Please forget that.
That could never be happiness for her. No, it wouldn't be happiness for anyone. Because such a decision would make enemies of the entire world around us. Not only those we don't ourselves view as enemies, but even those precious to us.
Well, let's think about it step by step. After all, it seems I'll have to meet you 3 times a week from now on.
Thank you very much. I look forward to meeting you during the next month. I'm at a loss too. That's why I need time. I need time to talk. The two of us might not be able to come up with anything else, but I'll give that girl a happy life, no matter what it takes.
Could you go to the convenience store? I want a pack of cigarettes.
Lifetime ban on smoking from now on.
What about alcohol?
In moderation.
Men?
Decide after you've asked yourself if you value him or Kazusa more.
I've never seen such a strict manager. Oh, I heard you injured yourself, but it can't have been anything serious if your performance is anything to go by. Mom? Welcome back! How have you been, Kazusa? Welcome back is what you say when you've returned before the other person. In that case, I'm back. You sure came back early. You must have enjoyed your trip in the hot springs. Or rather, you must have enjoyed being with the person who was with you. You're right! He just wouldn't let go of me. Thanks to that. What? Are you still worried about how you got slammed by that critic? I'm not. It's okay. That guy is just jealous. He was never a match for me in his heyday, so he's probably trying to satisfy himself by going after my daughter. Do you know him? I slept with him twice in the past, and then he— That's enough. You don't have to say the rest. Here's the souvenir. Amatsu special unagi pie. Sendai special hagi no tsuki. Okinawa special miniga. Hokkaido special marase bata sando. You have a lot of guts enjoying your time in Japan this much. It's my home country after all. Though you too were driven out of this country when you were young. Do you hate this country that much? Yeah, I do hate it. I want to get this additional concert over with quickly and return to my home in Vienna. Home, you say? What are you trying to say? Nothing? Well, I suppose I'll only get in the way of your practice by being here. So, I'll be off. Aren't you going to criticize my playing? It's just rehabilitation practice, so there's no point. I'll be in the resting room. Just give me a call when you're done. It'll take another 8 hours for me to be done, you know. Make it 2 hours for today. It'll all come crashing down if your wound reopens. See you then. Do your best. Just don't overdo it. Hey. Have you lost weight? Didn't I tell you? He just wouldn't let me fall asleep.
Hey, in the end, Kazusa left the studio at 8 p.m. Even though I told her that she should take it easy considering her wounds.
Could it be that you were waiting here all this time again?
No, I just came. I left the office 30 minutes ago and passed by here in case you were around.
Really?
Yes, really. I swear to both God and the devil. After all, I made Youko-san leak the information about when Kazusa will leave. Kazusa peers at me from below, with an expression that can both be seen as teasing or expecting.
Then, let me check.
Do as you wish. She envelops my right hand with both her hands. Again, she touches both sides of my hand with her stiff fingers and gently caresses them. Kazusa's hands are warm. In fact, I could even call them hot. Perhaps it was due to her passionate practice up until now, or perhaps the result of an inflammation in her injured hands. I can't think of any other reasons.
Huh?
Didn't I tell you? I just arrived. Kazusa, instead of her hands, she brings her face closer to my chest for some reason. Hey!
You said you didn't care if anyone saw, didn't you? Lend me your chest for a while.
Hey, that doesn't mean you should all of a sudden...
Then, let's go. I'm really tired today.
Before I can even process what is happening, she pulls away in an instant with a completely different expression. Then she walks away as if nothing happened. What's the matter with you? Just like usual, she's terrible at conveying her feelings through her actions. Or perhaps it's more appropriate to say that her actions sometimes make no sense at all.
Hey, Haruki. You don't have to pick me up anymore.
Though the only choices are curry, chicken stew, Korean stew, oden, and pot of pho. As you expect of a sad man living alone, I have no confidence making any food that isn't stew.
My hands have healed, so I'll be returning to the hotel soon.
But we had water-boiled chicken yesterday, and we've had curry 3 times now, Kazusa. Choose between meat and fish today.
You don't have to keep looking after me all the time. Don't you have a job?
Yeah, I do. My job is to write a special number on Toma Kazusa. The truth is, the final checking of the articles will take a while if I do them at the office. So I wanted to do it directly. No matter how much I tried to change the topic, Kazusa just refuses to get a clue. That's why I opt for a different strategy. Facing her head on and attempting to shave off the strength of her words.
Don't be kind to me anymore.
Unfortunately, I wouldn't just be toning down the tension. The amount of damage she would receive easily makes me not want to resort to this tactic. But you can't live alone, can you? You don't have any attendants here anymore.
I can. I got by just fine when I was overseas.
Getting by isn't enough. You have a concert coming up soon. You need to be in your best form.
I am in my best form. It's nothing for you to worry about.
What about food? Can you eat 3 balanced meals a day?
I promise. I'll eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner with lots of vegetables and moderate sugar.
What about caring for your hands? You'll have to go on about your day with your injury in mind.
I'll go to the hospital every day after practice. I'll even regularly change my compress.
What about your measures against the mass media? Will you be able to respond to rude people surrounding you with a smile on your face? See, I can't trust you after all. That's why I keep telling you that you need a manager.
I don't need such a thing. I can make do by myself. And at the very least, I don't need you anymore.
You say that, but you utterly failed your last concert.
That was only because you refused to come.
Told you.
Why didn't you come listen to my piano?
As long as you want me to, I'll do my very best for you, Kazusa. This time, I'll be by your side. That statement may be arrogant, presumptuous, and excessive, but the both painful and happy fact that it works on Kazusa is evident. That's why it's okay for you to remain in that apartment. Until the concert is over, it's okay for you to stay there.
Until the concert is over?
Yeah, until the concert is over. I won't leave Kazusa's side. That can also be interpreted as me not making any promises about what will happen after the concert.
Why?
Because I want your concert to succeed. I want the people of Japan to understand your greatness. Kazusa realizes the deceit behind those words. She realizes that I'm still taking a step back. I want you to come to like Japan once again. But I have no choice but to separate my feelings from what I need to do. Even if she manages to see through my cowardly behavior, and even if that means she'll run out of patience with me, there is a truth I need to hide from her, even if it means using a despicable version of myself as a front. And in response to that, Kazusa,
Stew. I'm sick of stew. I've had enough of curry too. I want meat. A thick steak.
Insert innuendo here. Kazusa bears with me for a little while longer. I see. You want steak? Yeah, making that should be a piece of cake. No, you probably should avoid cake.
I hope you're not underestimating steak. Don't think you can satisfy me just by roasting some meat.
Leave it to me. Rare, medium, and well done are all my fortes. I can even do flambe if you want. Not that I've ever done that.
I have a bad feeling about this, but let's see what you've got.
All right, let's buy some meat at the underground department store along the way, okay? I'll get something expensive, like sirloin.
That's why I keep calling you poor. How can you use sirloin and good meat in the same sentence?
I still don't know if she's decided that she still needs me, or if she just gave up on trying to convince me that she doesn't. Regardless, she'll allow me to meddle in her affairs, something that should be nothing but torture to Kazusa. That's why I'll make Kazusa suffer with all my might, and from the bottom of my heart, until her last concert in Japan, until 3 weeks from now.
Also, if you're going to the department store, get a dozen of Rascal's smooth pudding.
Not a minute ago, you told me you'd avoid sweet food. Kazusa, Yoko-san, and me. Thus begins our life on the tightrope that may snap at any moment. Tightrope smeared with lies, hypocrisy, and makeshift solutions. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Yoko isn't telling Kazusa about her sickness. I foresee no negative consequences from this action. This reminds me of a story I heard from a hospice worker. Apparently, a man with several young children's wife was sick with cancer. He didn't tell the children anything about it. Then, the wife, of course the children's mother, went to the hospital. And he kept the children away because he didn't want them to see their mom like that. Eventually, the wife died, and the children from then on thought hospitals were somewhere where you went and never came back from. Then, as they got older, they grew out of that, they learned what a hospital was. They really resented the father because they never got a chance to say goodbye to their mother. Long story short, don't hide illness from your kids. It doesn't turn out well.